Today, we're talking about a topic that will ruffle a few feathers: high ticket coaching. Yes, those premium coaching packages that cost as much as a small car. The masterminds, the private coaching containers, the retreats that might make your accountant sweat a little. And I want to get real because as a high ticket coach myself, I want to say that not everyone needs a high ticket coach, nor is every coach a magic wand. Throwing money at someone isn't a guaranteed shortcut to success. So if you've ever thought, should I invest in a high ticket coach? Let's unpack the truth in today's episode. Okay, so I thought a great place to start today's episode of the podcast is by talking about what a high ticket coach is. Now, again, this is going to vary from person to person what they regard as high ticket. I know some people who've invested hundreds of thousands in mentorship, and for others, investing $1,000 might feel like it's really leaning in. But specifically today, I want to talk about, where you are investing at that stage where it's really uncomfortable and stretchy. For some people, it might even be literally beyond their means. Now, like any product or service, there are people that charge a lot of money for something, and there are people that don't charge very much at all. And I don't believe that we need to have judgment around what someone is charging for their services. If it's not right for you, it's not right for you. And what I want to talk about in the space of high ticket coaching specifically is this truth: not everyone needs a coach. I said it. Here's the thing. Coaching isn't for everyone. There are plenty of business owners that have built successful businesses, wildly successful businesses, without a business coach at all. So not everyone needs a coach. And it's not for everyone at every stage of business. Sometimes I've had people come to me and say they want to invest thousands, but they haven't even made their first sale yet. And I'll just be like, right, get some runs on the board first. Now is not the time to be leaning in at this level. Because coaching works best when you already have momentum. If you're still finding your first few clients, you might not need to invest in a $10,000 plus coach. You might just need consistency, practice, and proof that people will actually pay you. And yes, a coach might help you to get those first few sales in, but I would argue that if you don't have a business that's up and running yet, that investing in a high ticket coach, it's too premature. A coach's best area of expertise is helping you to refine and stretch and elevate. So that's where I want to start. Not everyone needs a coach, period. Not everyone needs a coach right now. And not everyone needs a high ticket coach. And that's okay. All right. The second truth about high ticket coaching. Oh my gosh, coaches out there are going to be hating me. Bear with me. I think that these are some truths that need to be told. Paying big doesn't guarantee results. I have seen some coaches selling their programs by saying that if you pay big, if you pay to work with me, then, all your problems will be solved. But here's the thing. Just because you pay a big number, it doesn't mean you're guaranteed to get big results. Now, I do think that taking big action leads to bigger results, but just because you pay someone a lot of money, it doesn't mean you're guaranteed to get big results. And this is in any area of business. Just because you hire a really expensive Facebook ads agency, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to get fantastic results. So I just want to bust this myth that if you think the more that you pay, the bigger the result that you're going to get. Now, I do want to put a bit of not a caveat, I do want to say that, like, often there's a reason why people have elevated to a place where they are earning a certain amount of income or charging a certain amount for their services. And often that can be supply and demand because they are getting results and more people want to work with them. But, but, that absolutely doesn't mean that it's guaranteed for you. I know firsthand, I have hired people to work in my business who completely transformed other people's businesses in the, areas, all different kinds of areas, systems or Facebook ads or building a team. But it doesn't mean that it's going to work for you and your business and your industry. If you are thinking about investing, don't think that spending a lot of money means that you're guaranteed to get big results. And in fact, I truly believe that the best coaches will be very transparent that they cannot guarantee the results that you're going to get. A coach can give you the roadmap. They can give you the systems, the tools, the accountability. They can work on your mindset with you. But at the end of the day, you've got to drive the car. Think about it like I don't know why I picked this, but a football coach. If you fundamentally aren't playing the game of football well, the best coach in the world cannot help you. You have to still do the work. You have to still train. And ultimately, there's still a components of a luck and skill that come into it as well. You're still the driver of the car. So bear that in mind. Now, on that note, being completely transparent, I've had some clients who've paid me a lot of money and have completely changed their life and business within a matter of months. And I've had other clients of mine who paid the same amount of money, and I've been showing up with the same level of strategy and mindset tools and intensity and support, and my clients have barely moved the needle. And the difference isn't me. It isn't been the way that I'm showing up. It's about how they lean in and they take action and how much ownership they take for their results, which leads me to the next thing that I want to talk to you about, which is that you are ultimately accountable for your own results. And this is something that you learn about business in general. When you run the business, there's a saying, with great power comes great responsibility. You can no longer say, well, that person in my team didn't do the thing, so it's not my fault. If you're running the show, it's all your responsibility. And when you're working with your coach, you are ultimately responsible for your transformation or otherwise. If you're investing at a high level, you've got to show up at a high level. Do the work, have the uncomfortable conversations, do the scary stuff, ask for feedback, try again. The most successful clients I've ever worked with, they take radical responsibility. They don't say to me, oh, it didn't work because of you. They say, okay, what can I do differently next time? And I will say 100% the same for me when I've invested in high ticket coaches. I'm not pointing my finger at the coach and saying it's all your fault. I'm like, okay, I've tried those strategies. It didn't work. What are we going to do next? And I am taking accountability and responsibility for implementation because I know that it's my business. So I've spoken about some of the big myths and the untruths that are out there from high ticket coaching. So let's talk about the flip side. Let's talk about the positives of investing in high ticket coaching. So something that I want to say for me and that I've witnessed in clients of mine is that when I pay attention. I've recently joined a book club and I was telling my Profit Collective masterminders about it. And one of them said, you paid to be in a book club? I said, I paid a bit of money to be in a book club. But there's a reason for that. Because if I'm not paying to be in a container, I'm not going to show up in the same way. I haven't been reading my business books like I wanted to on my own. So if I join a free book club, that's the energy that I'm going to show up in. And for me personally, the more that I pay, I show up differently. If I'm going away with a bunch of biz mates and we're hanging out and just having a cool couple of days, I'll probably sit up and have a few drinks at night. But, when I've invested to be in really expensive rooms, I am like, right, I'm making sure that I've had a good night's sleep. I'm making sure that I'm showing up in my A game so I can get the most out of an experience. I know this might be triggering if you're a bit earlier on in your business journey, but, I'm going to be honest. If I buy a $200 course, I might watch one module and then like not even log back in again. But when I drop 10 grand on a mastermind or to work with a coach, you better believe that I'm showing up and implementing every single thing. When money's on the line, your brain has a different relationship with what you're challenged to do because there's something really powerful about the energy of commitment. When you say I'm in fully and you put the money behind it, your subconscious mind thinks I have to get the most out of this experience. And this is one of the parts of high ticket coaching that I think people miss. It's not just about the coach. It's actually about you making the decision to say, I'm all in on this. And if that's the energy that you're going to show up with, you're a lot more likely to get a transformation. So if you are like looking down the barrel, hopefully, right now you're reflecting on the year that was, you're looking ahead at what you want to be creating in 2026. You might be umming and ahhing about like, where do I want to be investing in support next year? Here's how to make high level coaching work for you. Number one, make sure that you find the right fit. Find the coach who actually really resonates with you, who speaks the language, who you understand. I know there's been some coaches online who paid a ton of money, who are blah, 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 made multi-millions. And I rock up to their trainings and I'm like, this just doesn't vibe for me. I don't really understand the way you're explaining things. It kind of sounds a bit fluffy to me. That's not the way that I like to be mentored and motivated. So don't just find someone and go, oh, wow, they're rich. I must have to work with them. Like actually listen, like does the way that they talk inspire you? Does it actually speak to you? Does the way that they articulate things resonate? Is it something that's going to motivate you? Next, you've got to be ready for real talk. I had a call with my coach this morning and she's like, look, I'm going to hit you with this. And I was like, great. I want to hear it. I don't want someone tiptoeing around telling me how fantastic I am. High level coaching is really about being called out, being called forward so that you can rise up. So if you are investing at this level, be ready for a bit of, real talk. And number 3, and this comes back to that taking total radical responsibility, is co-creation. Because your coach can give you the tools, the action plan, all of that. If you're not taking the action, it's very unlikely you're going to get the outcomes that you desire. I know which clients of mine are going to have the biggest wins because when they show up to our coaching calls, they're like, yep, done it all. And I did this and I've implemented that. They don't show up week after week being like, oh, sorry, I still haven't posted on social media. Oh, no, that was too hard. I mean, look, we all have weeks where, life gets in the way. But if week after week after week, they're not doing the work, I know they're not going to get the transformation. So if you are wanting to lean into high ticket transformation, you need to show up as a high level client. I've been coaching for almost a decade now, mostly at high ticket. And I've seen clients go from completely stuck at the, early 6-figure marks to 7 figures a year. And every single success story that I've had one thing in common. They decided to go all in. Because when you decide and you back yourself, that's really where the quantum leaps can happen. Now, look, I want to close out today's episode of the podcast by sharing a little bit about how you can work with me. Because if you're listening to this and thinking, Yes, I'm at that stage. My business is successful and I want to take it to the next level. I'm ready to go all in. There are a few ways that we can work together. So firstly, I have an Oprah Winfrey experience happening in Brisbane on the 8th of December, 2025. This is an in-person experience where you and I will sit down for 2 hours and map out, we'll have a look at your results from this year, and we will actually map out your strategy in person together for the year 2026. One of my clients I did this with at the beginning of 2025, she hit her first $100,000 month this year. How cool is that from the strategies that we spoke about in her session at the start of the year? So that's the start of it. We sit down together and then we go out for a beautiful dinner and then out to Oprah Winfrey Live. Yes, the Oprah is coming to Brisbane and we'll be sitting in row 4 right up the front, followed by a VIP cocktail experience. So if you want to hear about that, send me a DM on Instagram, send me an email. My email is Clare, C-L-A-R-E, make sure there's no I, clare@clarewood.com. At the time of recording, it's still available. I don't know if it will still be available. There's only one spot. I don't know if it'll still be available at the time you're listening to this. I also have a huge Black Friday offer that is coming. And if you have ever wanted to work one-on-one with me as your coach, this offer is going to be huge. You can jump on the wait list in the show notes for today's episode because there's only 10 spots available. When they're gone, they're gone. The waitlisters will be offered at first. So if you've ever wanted me as your coach, go jump on that waitlist so that you're the first to hear about it when it goes live. But there's 2 incredible ways that you can work with me to scale your business next year. If you are someone who's at a high level, but you want even more for your business next year. So to wrap up for today, the truth about investing in high ticket coaching, it's not for everyone. It's not a guarantee. But when it is the right coach, the right time, and you are ready to show up in the right energy, it can change everything. High-level coaching isn't about buying a result. It's about backing yourself. If you know someone who could benefit from this episode of the podcast, please make sure that you share it with them. And if this episode hit home, share your stories and make sure that you tag me, Clare_Wood_coach, so I can bob you a little thank you over there. All right, go out there, make some big, powerful moves this week. The year isn't over yet. And remember, you are the one steering your ship. Have a fabulous week. I'll chat to you soon.